Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Gao Wu, letting you take pictures, you wholesale supernatural powers. Chapter 21. Su Yu, who was sent home by a certain girl. Sitting in the living room, he was being interrogated by several uncles and aunts in the community. Tell me, where did you go after the tactician assessment today? What happened to Su Yu in the assessment hall has now been widely spread in Tianyuan City. There was a genius in Tianyuan City who was about to be accepted as an apprentice by the tactician, and many people said that it was finally Tianyuan City's turn to produce geniuses in recent years. In the community where Su Yu's family is located, the uncles and aunts learned about it. Immediately went to the market to kill a pig, brought wine to Su Yu's house to celebrate with Su Yu. It's just that they thought that Su Yu would go home to announce the good news as soon as the assessment was over, but they didn't expect Su Yu to come back until it was getting dark. Watching the pretty girl send Su Yu all the way into the community, he didn't turn to leave until he went upstairs. The souls of gossip in the hearts of these uncles and aunts completely burned. Facing Aunt Wu, the mechanical pupils shone brightly. Su Yu was convinced. Since he wasn't a prisoner being tortured, was it necessary to increase the brightness on purpose? It's not like I don't know that you always use this method to frighten the children upstairs. We finished the assessment and went to the wilderness. Without waiting for several uncles and aunts to continue to question, Su Yu continued to tell the whole story. Our homeroom teacher was afraid that I would die in the wilderness, so he asked Qing Huan to watch me more. Going to the wilderness today, she is also mainly to prevent me from looking for death. There were more than 3 layers of people in the small house, and at this moment, some uncle said something. Your head teacher really knows you, kid. Su Yu didn't want to cooperate on the spot. Several uncles and aunts curiously asked some other questions, and then let Su Yu go. From the conversation, Su Yu also learned. During the time when I was killing strange beasts in the wilderness, these uncles and aunts had already gone to Song Qingwan's community to investigate. If they really understand the information, they may know better than themselves. Tisk, little Su Yu, you have to work hard, Qing Huan's mother said so. I don't refuse you two to be together, but she is also afraid that Qing Huan will be a widow like her mother. Su Yu's little head was full of question marks. What are you guys saying? The co-author not only went to the community to investigate, but also went to Song Qingwan's house. And what does it mean to be a widow? You look down on your nephew like this. The other side, Song Qingwan's house was also surrounded by many people on 3 floors inside and outside. Facing the inquiries from those uncles and aunts, Song Qingwan's face was always fiery. Her mother watched with a smile. When the whole Tianyuan city was gossiping about Song Qingwan and Su Yu. Destined to be only one person is heartbroken. In Zhang Shizheng's house, the sound of fists hitting sandbags became louder and louder. Zhang Shizheng's father listened outside the door, and said to his wife, "It's okay, who doesn't lose love when they are young? Wait for the child to digest it by himself." Zhang Shizheng's mother nodded, and immediately said in a smaller voice, "I saw the photos of those 2 children in the group today, don't tell me, they are both talented and beautiful." Boom, boom. Boom. Zhang Shizheng beat the sandbag harder. After sending several drunk uncles and aunts home one by one, Su Yu finally had time to lie in bed and rest. With eyes closed, Su Yu had a heartfelt smile on his face. Although the world is full of dangers, the warmth brought to him by these uncles and aunts is something he has never experienced before. Thinking of this, Su Yu rubbed his face with his hands and got up to receive the system reward. Close your eyes and experience it. Su Yu punched out. The speed and strength improved a lot. It seems that the bonuses brought about by the improvement of attributes and the improvement of vitality do not overlap. That is to say, my qi and blood have been improved, and the bonuses brought to my various qualities have not been brought to the extreme. Su Yu hung up the sandbag and punched with all his strength, with a momentum that had never been seen before. I don't want to waste a little opportunity to improve. He was immediately in the room, and began to mobilize his energy and blood to practice the body training art. In the era of martial arts, every child has to learn 2 kinds of exercises from the beginning of his understanding. A breathing method communicates the world, mobilizes the whole body's qi and blood, and improves the qi and blood. Another one is body training art, which lays a solid foundation for breathing method to improve qi and blood. At the same time, the qi and blood obtained by the breathing method can be transformed bit by bit into the strengthening of physical fitness. The two kinds of exercises complement each other. After tapping the human body's potential to the first extreme, it is time to break through the first shackles and become a warrior. After becoming a warrior, there will be new exercises to improve. In the past, no matter how long Su-Yu practiced the breathing method and body training art, the effect would be negligible. So this week, he put all his energy into rectifying that chaotic memory. At this moment, in the room, Su-Yu followed the body training art while mobilizing his qi and blood while doing some strange movements. Arms, calves, thighs, and joints made a sound like firecrackers exploding from time to time. In less than 10 minutes, Su-Yu was already sweating profusely, and his clothes were soaked in sweat. Every forward movement made Su-Yu grit his teeth and endure, but the more so his eyes became brighter and brighter. He finally felt the progress brought about by practicing body refining art. In his memory, it seems that since he was very young, his practice of body exercises was the same as radio gymnastics, without any reaction. The more Su-Yu practiced, the more energetic he became, and the sound of firecrackers exploding on his body became louder and louder. Outside the house, Su-jun heard the movement in Su-Yu's house, and sighed, "Hey, I wish I could get you some more blood crystals." Early the next morning, Su-Yu was still in a daze when he heard the very noisy chattering in the living room. Getting up and pushing open the door, she found Song Qingwan surrounded by Aunt Wu and the others enthusiastically. I saw her face was flushed. She was shy but also politely responded to every aunt's earnest concern. "Qinghuan, don't think our family Su-Yu is not doing well now. In fact, it can't be all his fault. That's because he suffered from a hidden disease in his mother's womb when he was a child. If there is a chance to recover, he will definitely not hold you back too much." Su-Yu leaned against the door and wanted to see Song Qingwan's joke. As a result, he listened and found that the joke was actually himself. Seeing that Aunt Wu was about to reveal all the things about how old he was when he wet the bed and when he wore crotch pants to enter the women's toilet, Su-Yu coughed twice quickly. "Ahem, cough, Qinghuan, why are you here?" Song Qingwan stood up abruptly as if seeing the savior. At this time, Su-jun came out from the kitchen carrying noodles. Come, let's have breakfast first." Seeing this, Su-Yu was full of question marks again. When will my dad know how to cook? Su-Yu led Song Qingwan to break out of the siege. Under the laughter of a group of uncles and aunts, the real aunts rode a bicycle out of the community. "By the way, why did you come to see me so early?" Su-Yu asked curiously. Song Qingwan said as it should. "I know you will definitely go to the wilderness today, so I have to come over early to watch you." "Is that how you listen to the teacher?" Su-Yu continued to ask. Song Qingwan thought about it seriously. "Not exactly, I'm also afraid that you will go to the wilderness to die. You are my best friend." Su-Yu didn't risk his life and continued to chat on this topic. He changed the question and asked, "How is it? I came here once today, so I don't dare to come again in the future." Song Qingwan shook her head immediately. "No, I think uncle and aunt are very enthusiastic. Although they ask a lot of questions I don't know how to answer, but I like them very much." As she spoke, she continued, "My mother asked me last night when you would come to our house to play." The movement of Su-Yu pedaling the bicycle visibly paused. "If you have time, take me with you when you have time." "No, the progress is still too slow. At home, Aunt Wu and the others say no. When you go to Song Qingwan's house, you can't be told by the uncles and aunts there that you can't do it." Su-Yu's desire to improve his strength became even stronger. The two arrived in front of the steel gate with ease. When passing the level, a square-faced soldier came to Su-Yu. "Hello Su-Yu, I'm Yang Kai, Corporal of the Northwest Sirius Corps. Do you mind if I follow you today?" Su-Yu didn't react for a while. He looked at Song Qingwan. Song Qingwan nodded, and Su-Yu also replied, "No problem." Yang Kai smiled. "Don't worry, I will keep a distance from you and it won't affect you." After Su-Yu and Song Qingwan entered the wilderness for tens of meters, Yang Kai slowly followed behind. "What's the situation?" Su-Yu asked. "If you find newcomers who have potential but are not sure about them in all major regions, they will follow and observe. It should be that they noticed your record of participating in the killing of a first-grade beast yesterday, so today they want to take a closer look. Many geniuses will be followed when they enter the wilderness for the first time, and they will provide corresponding protection while examining their actual strength. Song Qingwan explained. Have you met before? Su Yu asked curiously. Song Qingwan shook his head. No, the teachers in our training camp won't let them follow, for fear that they will rob people. Su Yu was silent. Song Qingwan said, Su Yu, you can show more of your strength today. Even if you don't join the Northwest Serious Military Academy, there will be good benefits. For example, if they really have a crush on you, the Bebe University should be anxious. A sly look appeared in Song Qingwan's eyes. Su Yu froze for a moment, and realized for the first time that this girl was also a bit dark-bellied. So the two looked at each other, knowing it in their hearts. In the next time, under the full attention of Corporal Yang Kai, Su Yu demonstrated his solid theoretical knowledge. Every little thing can become evidence for him to judge the situation of the strange beast. In the actual battle, Su Yu's fighting skills and proficient dagger skills, which obviously came from the army, also impressed Yang Kai. Although, I don't understand Su Yu taking a picture after killing a strange beast. But Yang Kai also had a preliminary judgment in his mind. After the sergeant major in charge of the checkpoint got the information simultaneously, he immediately fed it back to the admissions office of the Northwest Serious Military Academy. With solid combat ability and strong theoretical knowledge, he has already passed the examination of a low-level tactician at the age of 18. Even if his cultivation talent is a little worse, spend resources to train him to a third-rank warrior, or even break through to a third-rank warrior. Su Yu is definitely qualified to build an elite beast hunting team with him as the core. There is also the bonus of his relationship with Song Qingwan. Not long after, the admissions office sent back a message. It is imperative to attract Su Yu to join the Northwest Serious Military Academy, the sooner the better. 3 exclamation points are enough to prove that the Northwest Serious Military Academy admissions office attaches great importance to Su Yu. In the wilderness, after killing more than a dozen strange beasts, Su Yu stopped. Cumulative entry in the illustrated book of Strange Beasts 11/10, rewards to be claimed. Close black lens bracket. As the first system task completed, Su Yu couldn't wait to go home and see what the reward was. Not only that, but there are 10 blood, 60 agility, and 20 strength to be claimed. If it weren't for the restrictions on the entries in the illustrated book, Su Yu would really like to live in this wilderness. Let's go back. The class teacher will organize another comeback tomorrow, so I need to save some energy. Su Yu said. Song Qingwan nodded, and the two called out the map and began to rush back. On the way back, she looked at Su Yu many times. In fact, she asked Su Yu to show herself more in front of Yang Kai. It was also she who wanted to see how much strength Su Yu was hiding. After a day of reading, she had a rough judgment in her mind. Not counting liberal arts scores, Su Yu's martial arts scores can barely rank in the top 100 in Tianyuan City. Of course, according to Su Yu said that he recently absorbed a blood crystal. Song Qingwan believes that Su Yu will have a further improvement in the future, if the blood crystals are raised enough. It is not impossible for Su Yu to break into the top 30. The top 30 in Tianyuan City are all geniuses who are only one step away from breaking through the shackles of warriors. The vitality of the top 20 has basically reached 150, and they can break through warriors at any time, just to get more potential stimulation. Almost no students would choose to break through into warriors before the college entrance examination. Of course, those geniuses who have already reached 200 blood before stepping into warriors are another matter. The top 10 geniuses in Tianyuan City are basically above 180 and not far from 200. Thinking about it, the two of them had already left the wilderness. At the checkpoint, the Master Chief walked over with a smile. Su Yu, let's get acquainted formally. Jing Yao, first-class sergeant of the Northwest Serious Military Region. Hello, Chief Jing. Su Yu also stretched out his right hand. Don't be so unfamiliar, just call me Big Brother Jing. Are you interested in considering joining our Northwest Serious Military Academy? Jing Yao made no secret of his intentions. I can assure you that the resources that the 4 major colleges can promise to give you can be tilted, and our Northwest Serious Military Academy can do it. And at the end of your sophomore year, I will use you as the foundation to build an elite-level beast hunting team into the wilderness. After your junior year is over, you can directly join the frontline regiment, become a frontline officer, and control at least one battalion of troops. After talking about a series of benefits, Suyu was moved. What does he need most? Killing strange beasts, gaining blood. The more you kill, the faster you improve. The military academy just happened to meet his needs. Suyu is seriously thinking about it. Jing Yao also knew that he would not be able to give an answer immediately. He smiled and said, "Don't reply in a hurry, you will come when you think about it." "Okay, thank you Brother Jing, I will think about it carefully," Suyu said seriously. After the two added a contact information, Suyu and Song Qingwan left the checkpoint. Checkpoint. Yang Kai was puzzled and said, "Brother, Suyu's heart was moved just now, why didn't we try harder?" Jing Yao shook his head. Young people will naturally be moved when they first listen to it. We want him to join, but it doesn't mean we want to trick him into joining. The military academy and the 4 major academies are completely different choices, and he needs to think carefully about them. Even if he just agreed to us, we can't make any substantive signings. It's better to make a good impression than this. On the way back, Song Qingwan asked curiously, "Suyu, are you excited?" Actually, what they promised to you, the 4 major colleges and universities can also do. If you learn tactics from that Professor Zhu Yun, maybe after you graduate, you can directly enter the highest decision-making department of the human camp. Song Qingwan, who had heard numerous hype promises made by countless schools, analyzed for Suyu rationally. Suyu nodded and said with a smile, "Actually, the influx of these resources is not the reason for my heartbeat. I'm even more excited about being able to enter the wilderness in advance and enter the barren battlefield in advance." Song Qingwan looked at him. "Suyu, you seem to really want to wipe out all the alien beasts and races." Suyu smiled. "Don't you want to?" "That's right." Song Qingwan suddenly realized that this is the wish of all human beings. Send Suyu to the gate of the community again. Obviously this time, he knew that Suyu would not turn back and go into the wilderness again. But Song Qingwan still used this as an excuse to send him home. This time, Aunt Wu and Uncle Li didn't look upstairs. Instead, a group of people were waiting at the gate of the community. "Yo, Suyu is back, and Qinghuan, you have to come up and sit down. You went to the wilderness today, why don't you go up and rest for a while before going home? Let me tell you, your aunt has studied in New Oriental before, why don't you stay for dinner today?" For Aunt Wu and Uncle Li's enthusiasm, Song Qingwan was still a little hard to entertain. She was about to say that her mother was waiting for her to go back to eat. Aunt Wu held her mobile phone and said, "Qinghuan, your mother said it's okay, she won't cook your meal today, but she asked you to go home early at night. According to me, you should let your mother come over to have a meal. What else is there to eat? It only takes about 10 minutes to ride a bicycle." Song Qingwan was confused, so Aunt Wu pushed her upstairs. Among them, she looked at Suyu with a puzzled face. Suyu spread out his hands. "You see, this is how powerful our aunt is." At the dinner table at night, there was always a strange atmosphere. After eating, Song Qingwan went downstairs with a lot of food. Suyu followed behind and took more things. "Why do you even ask you to take the pickled radish home? Isn't this just bought at the door?" He was extremely puzzled. Song Qingwan smiled shyly. She sent Suyu home, and Suyu sent her again at night. When approaching the residential area, Suyu brakes decisively. He tied the big and small bags to the back seat of the bicycle, and said with some fear, "I won't go there. I'm afraid I won't be able to go back tonight. I have to go to bed early today, and I have to go to the wilderness tomorrow." Song Qingwan blinked her big eyes, and couldn't help laughing. She nodded. "Okay, you go back quickly." After thinking about it, she forcibly put on a fierce look. "You have to go home, don't run around. I'll confirm with Uncle later." Suyu looked helpless. "I am so worrying, and when did you add my dad's contact information?" Song Qingwan nodded. "Yes, I added it this morning." The two were separated, When Suyu returned home, he honestly took a video and sent it to Song Qingwan. Song Qingwan replied okay, and sent another voice to tell him to go to bed early. In this regard, the Soviet army kept tutting. Tisk tisk, where is this going? You have to report it in real time. Son, you haven't learned your father's skills. Su Yu ignored it with his actions and went straight back to the room. What ability do you have? The ability to report to your mother when you play a game. Back in the room, Su Yu calmed down and called out the system. Receive award. Congratulations to the host for completing the collection of the 10 out of 10 illustrated book of exotic beasts and obtaining the title of low-level collector. Close black lens bracket. Receive the reward. Increase the cultivation talent level by 1. Cumulatively recorded in the Strange Beast Illustrated Book 11/100. Close black lens bracket. Bang. Su Yu jumped up on the spot, and because he didn't grasp the strength, his head hit the ceiling directly. Outside the house, Su Jun shouted, "You kid is demolishing the house." Su Yu ignored it and continued to collect the rewards for today's entry in the illustrated book. Once again, Su Yu's chi and blood increased, and the chi and blood emitted by Su Yu became stronger. Clenching his fists, there was a crackling sound. Su Yu didn't hesitate, and immediately began to practice the body training art while taking advantage of the increase in chi and blood. 3 hours later, Su Yu collapsed on the ground exhausted. Panting, Su Yu called out the personal panel. Open black lens bracket name, Su Yu close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket talent, close black lens bracket. Ability, Ice Age incomplete. Title, low-level tactician, low-level illustrated book collector. Skills, tactical understanding master, exotic beast illustrated book proficient, bicycle driving skills intermediate. Physique high dimensional attribute 131 chi and blood. Spirit high dimensional attribute 300 Hz. Close black lens bracket. Strength low dimensional attribute 350. Agility low dimensional attribute 300. The talent has changed from F to E, and 2 more low-level titles have been added. In addition to the direct acquisition of strength and agility attributes, there are also quite a lot of increases due to the increase in vitality. Su Yu was extremely excited when his strength improved intuitively, but he remembered the strength Song Qingwan showed that day. He immediately calmed down. Let alone the number 1 in the National College entrance examination, there is still some distance from the number 1 in Tianyuan City. After taking a bath, Su Yu crossed his legs and began to practice breathing again for many days. Facts have proved that whether his cultivation talent is F or E, he is very useless. Still can't feel much blood boost. With a long sigh, Su Yu practiced cross-legged for more than an hour. Although it is still waste material, at least it has improved, right? And maybe one day, my cultivation talent can also be raised to SSS. At that time, the hardships we are suffering now will become the foundation for our own takeoff. Consoling himself, Su Yu became much calmer. Early the next morning, Su Yu didn't quite understand why Song Qingwan had to wait for her at home when she was in school. Even if it's a romance novel, shouldn't you just go downstairs to their house and wait? Song Qingwan saw Su Yu. Su Yu, has your vitality improved again? She looked delighted. Su Yu nodded. In the past 2 days, when I practiced breathing techniques and body exercises, I could still feel the improvement of chi and blood. It's probably the effect of the blood crystal. Song Qingwan's eyes sparkled. Su Yu. This is also a manifestation of talent. Seeing that the girl was happier than herself, Su Yu nodded accordingly. He couldn't bear to tell her that he could get 15 chi and blood at most with 1 blood crystal. Tut tut, shame, Tianyuan number 8 middle school, class number 3 and number 7. Lu Long came to Su Yu's side mysteriously. Brother Su Yu, I have a surprise for you. Su Yu glanced at him. What's wrong? Your vitality has increased. Lu Long nodded fiercely. 5 o'clock. My dad spent more than 1 million yuan to buy a chi and blood pill. Now my chi and blood has officially reached 130. Now I'm not afraid that no school will want me. Brother Su Yu went to the wilderness today and you followed me, and I will protect you. Lu Long said, patting his chest. Su Yu nodded. Then I will hand over my wealth and life to you. Hearing this, Lu Long subconsciously looked at Song Qingwan. He was a little surprised to find that the other party didn't intend to stop him. Knowing that Song Qingwan would hear him no matter how softly he spoke, Lulong wrote on the paper, "Brother Su Yu, did you really take down the school bell?" Su Yu looked at Song Qingwan. Song Qingwan smiled softly at him. He put the note away. Lulong held out his thumb. In the classroom, everyone was excitedly discussing today's wilderness trip, which was as noisy as a vegetable market. Cheng Yong entered the class holding a thermos cup. Glancing around the class, they fell silent in an instant. It's just that Cheng Yong didn't say that you are the loudest in the whole school this time. He looked at Su Yu from the podium, his eyes were somewhat deathly staring. It is not surprising that Su Yu passed the low-level tactician assessment. But what Su Yu said in front of those old men made him miserable. Yesterday, he was called to the Tianyuan City Tactician Alliance and was criticized for a whole day in a meeting. Today, as soon as I entered the school, I was dragged to the office by the principal for a good education. Su Yu faced his death gaze with an innocent expression. Oh, Cheng Yong suddenly sneered. The whole class was silent. In the next second, Cheng Yong's expression returned to normal. Su Yu. Very good, please keep going. In the future, you can't restrain your temper just because you are going to college. The way he looked at Su Yu at this moment was even a little kind. This time Su Yu felt a little creepy. Cheng Yong thinks about it. Anyway, Su Yu will toss him for another month at most. When this kid arrives at Jubei University, the headache will be his good classmate. Looking at the class teacher with a sneer from time to time, looking at himself with an amiable face. Su Yu felt more and more dangerous. Qinghuan, do you think it's necessary for me to ask for leave? It's okay not to go to the wilderness today. Song Qingwan said seriously. Su Yu, don't worry, the teacher won't harm you. Soon all the students in Class 7 gathered on the playground. Each has a tactical backpack and a bicycle. Su Yu inexplicably has the feeling of going out for a spring outing. Of course, if those students with big knives and sledgehammers put away these weapons, it would be more similar. In addition to Cheng Yong, the class teacher, Niuji, the fighting teacher, went together. The two teachers stood in front of each other, and the 22 people in the class set off towards the wilderness. Come to the Big Iron Gate checkpoint. Because it was a class action, Cheng Yong had already registered in advance. After he checked individually, he led everyone directly into the wilderness. After entering the wilderness, Cheng Yong led everyone straight to the special examination venue for Tianyan No. 8 Middle School. Before entering the territory of the alien beast, Cheng Yong gathered everyone together. Today we are divided into 4 groups, 5 people in each group. Each group of tasks is to kill 10 strange beasts within 8 hours. Zhang Shizheng raised his hand. Teacher, there are 22 students in our class, and there are still 2 vacant. Cheng Yong looked at Su Yu. Su Yu, you and Song Qingwan are in a group, your task is not to get hurt. After the words fell, many people laughed out loud. What's more, they looked at him with envy and hatred. But it's just a few more glances. The youngest tactician in Tianyuan City who refused the direct recruitment invitation from Peking University, Su Yu is no longer someone they can laugh at. The only thing they can comfort themselves is that fortunately, Su Yu's martial arts talent is simply a mess. Otherwise, at this moment, I dare not even laugh out loud. Regarding the arrangement of the class teacher, Su Yu looked helpless. Looking at the envious Lulong again, he spread his hands. It's not that my brother didn't let you protect me, it's that the teacher didn't give me this chance. Lulong had a heartbroken expression on his face. Immediately afterwards, Cheng Yong began to group everyone according to their strength. Su Yu stood honestly with Song Qingwan. Are we going to kill 10 alien beasts too? He asked. Song Qingwan nodded. Well, this is an exam before graduation, and it needs to be recorded. Su Yu thought for a while, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Qinghuan, let me discuss something with you. Zhang Shizheng, the team leader, looked at Su Yu and Song Qingwan leaning together and didn't know what they were discussing. His eyes were burning with jealousy, and his fists were clenched. Su Yu, just wait for me, I will prove that I am more suitable for Qinghuan than you. After dividing into groups, Cheng Yong didn't waste any time. Okay, you can officially start hunting alien beasts. After the words fell, a group of teenagers rushed into the territory of the alien beast with weapons in their hands, excitement and nervousness in their eyes. Chang Yong watched from behind and shook his head. Tisk, those who went to school in books don't remember anything. Immediately he looked at Su Yu again. Are you still leaving? Su Yu's face was full of sincerity. Teacher, do you want me to show you the investigation mentioned in the book? Chang Yong's face darkened. Get lost. Su Yu and Song Qingwan left immediately. Mr. Niu, you are with the third and fourth groups, I am with the first and second groups, and Qing Huan and Su Yu. Chang Yong said. Well, by the way, did that kid Su Yu absorb the blood crystals? I feel that his vitality has improved a lot. Teacher Niu Ji asked one more question. Chang Yong nodded. It should be, but even if this kid's vitality has been improved, it may be the same as before. The image of Su Yu fighting an idiot has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. On the other side, the four teams had only explored within a distance of less than 100 meters, and immediately encountered the strange beast head-on. As for Su Yu and Song Qingwan, as soon as the strange beast showed its head, Song Qingwan shot at it. Freeze. Su Yu followed slowly and made up the knife to solve it. This scene left the other 20 people stunned. Chang Yong and Niu Ji who followed after saw this scene, their eyelids twitched and the corners of their mouths twitched. This kid. Chang Yong gritted his teeth. Mingming and Song Qingwan could solve it directly with a single shot, but he had to take his time to make up the knife. Isn't this clearly stimulating your classmates? And Song Qingwan, are your abilities used to deal with these unqualified beasts? There were still some tense wilderness trials. After being made such a fuss by Su Yu, it instantly became inexplicably absurd. Zhang Shizheng caught this scene out of the corner of his eye. The long knife in his hand swung even harder. It doesn't even take care of the agreed cooperation first. However, he also showed a gap between himself and others. After a few dodges, he forcibly received an impact from the fire-eyed sheep, and successfully cut off the head of the strange beast with a single knife. After dealing with the strange beast, he looked at Su Yu provocatively. At this time, Su Yu was taking pictures of the strange beast with a camera. On the side, Song Qingwan looked at Su Yu and smiled. A mouthful of old blood almost spewed out. Zhang Shizheng didn't care about rest, and said in a deep voice, hurry up and finish the corpse, let's continue to explore. After taking the photo, Su Yu looked calm in the face of the contemptuous eyes of a group of people. He even stopped to look at the strange beasts he encountered with great interest. Obviously, the school put a lot of effort into their trials. The first batch of alien beasts they encountered basically had no attack power. There is even no threat of his throat being cut if he is not careful, like the Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit. Handle the corpse skillfully, Su Yu shouted in Lu Long's direction. Lu Long, I'm going first, please be careful. Lu Long, who was slowly grinding with the strange beast, heard the words and worked hard silently. I don't want to pay attention to him at all, it's great to have a powerful partner. Look down on Brother Chant. Chang Yong watched from afar, and suddenly began to regret letting Su Yu and Song Qingwan be in the same group. HMPH, if I wasn't afraid that you would hinder others, I would let you go so easily. He didn't want to look at Su Yu again. In the next time, the wild beasts that appeared became more and more feral, and some students began to be injured because of it. But Chang Yong didn't help them just because they were injured. Even if it is a broken arm or leg, he is not ready to shoot. If you can't even pass this test, then it's better not to go into the wilderness in the future. It's better to lose an arm or a leg than to lose your life. Of course, except for someone who followed Song Qingwan to make up the knife. When the other groups only killed 4 strange beasts at most. Song Qingwan and Su Yu took the parts of 10 different beasts, and Shi Shiren returned to Cheng Yang. Look at the frost on those parts. The students in Class 7 of the 3rd year once again looked at Su Yu with disdain. Regardless of whether he is a genius or not, at least judging from his current behavior, everyone seriously despises and envies him. If possible, who wouldn't want a powerful yet gentle beauty partner? Squad leader Zhang Shizheng was stimulated to speed up again. Soon, the trial was coming to an end. The alien beasts everyone faces are becoming more and more dangerous. Su Yu discounted He Xiao boredom. At this time, Cheng Yang said, Song Qingwan, please take care of the 4th group. Mr. Lu Ji, you just need to follow the 3 groups. The two nodded and stepped forward, trying to get closer to the 2 groups. The bears, snakes, and leopards that these groups are now facing are extremely dangerous. They must always be on the lookout, ready to snatch them back from death. It was precisely because of Song Qingwan's presence that only 2 teachers were needed to lead the trial of Class 7 this time. A group of Zhang Shizheng leads the team, and he himself has the ability to pass the trial alone. In this way, the other 3 groups can stare at each other. By the way, there is Su Yu to watch. Thinking about it, Cheng Yang looked at Su Yu, and saw that the other party was looking at him expectantly, with black lines all over his face. What do you want to say? And me, which group am I in charge of watching? Cheng Yang glanced at him and didn't say much. What are you doing? Don't you have any points in your mind? Su Yu understood in his heart. Then I will join the second group. Hearing this, Cheng Yang almost fell off the tree trunk without stepping on it. He thought for a while, and said angrily, you in the same group. Stay away and learn the squad leader's fighting skills. Don't think that with Song Qingwan beside you now, you can sit back and relax. You will have to face the strange beast alone in the future. Okay. Su Yu's voice was still on the spot, and the person had already rushed out. Chen Yang was taken aback, and hesitantly said, why do you feel that this kid's speed has increased a lot? Not too far away, Su Yu caught up with Zhang Shizheng and the others. It was originally a special assessment area, and the strange beasts were cleaned up along the way, so Chen Yang was relieved to let him follow. And after Su Yu caught up, it was exactly as Cheng Yang said. He landed on a branch not far away, carefully watching Zhang Shizheng and the others fight the alien beast. A group of 5 people, 1 with a shield, 2 with a spear, 1 with a bow and arrow, and Zhang Shizheng with a long knife in front of the main attack. Watched for a while, Su Yu frowned, because Zhang Shizheng's personal strength was strong enough, and his desire to fight alone was too strong. The other 4 became his burden instead. Facing Qing Wangmang, if it weren't for these 4 people, it is estimated that Zhang Shizheng would have dealt with it more easily by himself. After 10 minutes of fighting, Qing Wangmang was finally dealt with. It's just that 2 people were thrown down by Qing Wangmang's giant tail, one was a little pale, and the other couldn't lift his arm. Su Yu watched calmly from behind without making a sound. No matter what the reason was, the injury was ultimately due to their own lack of strength. At the same time, this also allowed me to witness with my own eyes the consequences of not being able to hold back my strength. Su Yu has a little more sense of urgency to improve his strength quickly. While watching, he compared himself in his mind to review. Not long, a group of members encountered the last jackal of a strange beast. With a body of more than 3 meters and a whole body of khaki, it is called a ground jackal because it can be perfectly integrated with the ground because it is dormant. Zhang Shizheng's expression became serious. Jackals are the most difficult to deal with among ordinary beasts. When he is seriously injured, he can often explode into a desperate fight. Li Hao, Zhang Wei, you 2 are injured, stand farther away. Yang Shu, Zhang Wei, you 2 help me fight the battle. Zhang Shizheng arranged. The 2 injured people wanted to continue, but they didn't have time to speak. Zhang Shizheng has already rushed out. The long knife collided with the ground jackal, and Zhang Shizheng rolled over and over again to avoid being killed by it. Su Yu roughly judged that Zhang Shizheng was superior in both speed and strength. Just as he expected, Zhang Shizheng had already taken advantage within a short while. However, when he saw the jackal lowering his head and panting continuously, his whole body was covered in blood. The 2 injured people once again moved the idea of wanting to participate. The 3 of them were besieging and killing the ground jackal step by step. Li Hao rushed over with a spear in his hand. Seeing Li Hao attacking, the ground jackal completely ignored Zhang Shizheng's attack for a moment, and rushed towards the fierce man with blood-red eyes. At this moment, the ground jackal rushed towards him, and Li Hao, who was already injured, was a little dumbfounded. Zhang Shizheng also had a ferocious face and tried desperately to stop the jackal. It's just that in this instant, with his speed, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop the jackal from killing Li Hao. Yang Shu, who was following behind Li Hao, immediately frantically called the teacher with his bracelet. When Cheng Yang received the news, he rushed towards this side like a gust of wind. When Li Hao was completely sluggish in the face of the ground jackal's bloody mouth, he even forgot the movement of using the cross of the spear. With a pop, a delicate jet black dagger pierced the jackal's head. The jackal's blood instantly sprayed Li Hao's face. Bang! The heavy body of the jackal pressed Li Hao to the ground. Li Hao was already injured, but he spat out a mouthful of blood after being pressed down like this. But he vomited blood, and everyone else looked relieved. If it wasn't for this dagger, which was more powerful than a sniper bullet, it would instantly smash the jackal's mouth and pierce its head. Maybe Li Hao is not just vomiting blood. A group of people looked at the direction the dagger was flying from. Yangshu didn't turn around. He let out a long sigh of relief, and slumped on the ground, with lingering fear in his heart. He said, "Fortunately, the teacher has arrived." When Cheng Yang arrived at the fastest speed, just in time, I saw a pitch-black dagger blast through the jackal's mouth like a sniper bullet, piercing through his head. He knew that this dagger was Song Qingwan's reward in the training camp. He knew better that this is the dagger that Su Yu used today. So he followed the direction and looked at the figure standing on the branch. He had already guessed it, but he still couldn't believe it. At the same time, Zhang Shizheng looked at Su Yu, his pupils constricted and his eyes widened. He opened his mouth, but there was no sound. The other two were also completely stunned. Yangshu didn't react a little bit. He crawled up and comforted everyone. "It's all right, the teacher has rushed over." No one spoke. He looked back following the eyes of everyone. I saw Su Yu still walking towards him slowly with that annoying smile on his face. No. No way. Yangshu was dumbfounded. Li Hao was pressed to the ground, breathing heavily. The other four watched Su Yu pass by them like this, and then retracted the dagger stuck in the tree trunk. Su Yu wiped the blood from the dagger, and turned around to find the head teacher watching him quietly not far away. A warm smile immediately appeared on his face. "Yo, teacher, why are you here?" Cheng Yang ignored him, and glanced at Jack's corpse. "Take care of the corpse and go back and wait, your task has been completed." After speaking, he was going to rush back to the second group. After they had already left, he stopped and turned around and said, "Su Yu, you also go back and wait, don't run around." As he spoke, he glanced at the others. "You help me keep an eye on him." Several people looked at Su Yu with complicated expressions. Su Yu had an innocent face. Did he look like such an ignorant person? Dude just saved a classmate. Shouldn't it be praised? Cheng Yang didn't know what Su Yu was thinking. He reflected on the road and realized that he had made many mistakes. The first one is to think that Zhang Shizheng has the strength to face these strange beasts alone, forgetting that he may not have the strength to lead a team to face these strange beasts. If he doesn't arrange a teacher to follow him, he must reflect and review things when he goes back today. The second is that he thought that Su Yu had no strength and that he would not run around, so he let him act alone. Although by accident, Su Yu helped him save the first mistake. But what if Su Yu didn't follow the group and left the area alone? Cheng Yang dared not think about it. If a future tactical master dies due to his own negligence, he thought that even if he apologized with death, he would not be able to recover the loss. While Cheng Yang was self-reflecting, he suddenly yelled that it was not good. "No, you won't really let this kid major in combat and minor in tactics, right?" For a while, Cheng Yang wished he could go back and contact Zhu Yun immediately. They were still discussing Su Yu's future development path yesterday. 5-page M. Altogether, of the four groups, almost none of them completed the task perfectly. Every team has people injured. One group even had a sixth shot. Now the people in Class 7 of the third year are discussing the sixth person. Not long after the meeting, the whole class knew that Su Yu rescued Li Hao with a dagger. The head teacher first reviewed his own mistakes. He also severely criticized Li Hao's unorganized and undisciplined behavior. Zhang Shizheng, who went it alone, was also scolded. But Su Yu didn't understand why he was scolded for saving others. "Su Yu, although you saved Li Hao this time, do you know how dangerous your actions are? In case the dagger was thrown sideways, did you kill your classmate? Then you will feel guilty from time to time for the rest of your life. I know that you have made a lot of progress after absorbing blood crystals, but everyone needs a long time to polish their power control after absorbing blood crystals. Are you so confident?" Listening to what the head teacher said, Li Hao, who was scolded and crying, felt his scalp was cold instantly. Su Yu is still innocent like those three good students. Song Qingwan couldn't help laughing at the side. In fact, the head teacher's concern is not unreasonable, he just doesn't know that Suyu is a hook. After scolding almost everyone, even himself, Chengyang led everyone out into the wilderness. On the way, everyone who was scolded a second ago and couldn't hold their heads up began to discuss heatedly again at this moment. I said, why did Suyu save Li Hao? It turned out that he absorbed blood crystals. Hiss. I really want to absorb a blood crystal. If you give me a blood crystal, I will be able to break through and become a warrior in one fell swoop. A group of students are envious and jealous, and many people think that if they absorb a blood crystal, they will definitely get more promotion than Suyu. Suyu didn't pay attention to these voices, in all fairness he would be envious and jealous. However, he wanted to tell everyone one thing. Dude really didn't rely on blood crystals. One piece of blood crystal buddy has increased his blood by 15. A group of people went out to the wilderness and began to register today's combat contributions at the checkpoint. Suyu followed suit and took the bracelet from the soldier when he was about to leave. Brother Suyu, today's class activity. Hearing the voice, he realized that it was Jing Yao who hadn't met in the morning. Seeing this, everyone in class 7 of the third year looked over curiously. Well, I'm graduating soon, today's trial in the wilderness. Suyu replied. Jing Yao smiled. Brother Suyu, you should pass this test with ease. By the way, I have good news for you. The Northwest Serious Military Academy is willing to pour your resources into another level. As long as you are willing to join the Northwest Serious Military Academy, all resources poured into it will be at the S level. We can guarantee that you will step into the realm of a 4th-rank warrior. The voice fell. Everyone in class 7 of the third year was stunned. Guaranteed to become a 4th-rank martial artist. Someone murmured to himself. Rank 4 martial artist has been the dream of many of them in life. Northwest Serious Military Academy took the initiative to invite Suyu. Doesn't the military academy value immediate combat power the most? Someone's eyes widened in disbelief. Didn't Suyu absorb the blood crystal? With the noise, Cheng Yang, who was walking in front, had sharp eyes instantly. He came to Suyu's side in 3 steps. Hi sir, we students haven't considered this yet. The most important thing for him now is to prepare for graduation and the college entrance examination. With that said, he took Suyu away quickly. Jing Yao smiled, and didn't care too much, anyway, their sincerity had been shown. The next thing is to see what Suyu thinks. Cheng Yang saw that other people were still blindfolded, so he said loudly, what are you still doing? Are you satisfied with today's performance? Give me all back to school and prepare to write a review. After speaking, he got on his bicycle and set off first. At the same time, there was Suyu who was pulled by him. Along the way, the more Cheng Yang thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. In the current situation, it's not the combat department that is robbing people, TMD other schools are also robbing, and TMD is a military school. This group of people is shameless. I don't know if I rejected Peking University and already invited him. Angry in his heart, Cheng Yang pedaled his bicycle at such a high speed that he pulled the rest of class 7 of the third year far away. Suyu rides a bicycle without moving her legs. Back to school. Cheng Yang asked everyone to reflect on today's experience, and everyone wrote a 3,000-word review. After arranging these, he left the classroom to make a phone call. Not for a while. In the office of Beibei University, the voice of a professor yelling and cursing once spread throughout the floor. The students who passed by shrank their necks one by one. Who provoked Professor Zug again? No, I have to inform my roommate immediately that the homework for this period has to be checked several times. Class 3 and 7 of Tianyan number 8 middle school. Everyone put their heads down and wrote the review. Suyu is also thinking about the arrangements for the next month. Gained another 10 chi and blood today. There are more than 30 days left, enough for him to break through and become a martial artist with 200 chi and blood. There is also the illustrated book of strange beasts, and 6 different illustrated books have been collected today. With hard work in the next 30 days, it is completely possible to complete the illustrated book collection task at this stage. There is not much difference from F to E, and it should not be so bad when it comes to D. After all, the talents of D level are already at the level of ordinary people. Hey, every time I think of this, Suyu feels very sad. Who can understand the pain of working hard to reach the level of ordinary people? Thinking in his heart, he felt more and more that the next time should not be wasted in school. Suyu stood up suddenly. Swish swish swish. The whole class looked at him instantly. Song Qingwan also cast a puzzled look. Suyu smiled harmlessly. I'm going to the bathroom. After the voice fell, everyone in the class looked away. When Suyu walked out of the class, Song Qingwan began to hold his chin in a daze. The squad leader Zhang Shijung looked at her from a distance, and after a long sigh, he also got up resolutely. He thought about it, whether it was Song Qingwan or Suyu. Now they are all he can only look up to. In comparison, the two are getting better and better. Instead, he almost killed Li Hao today. So he not only needs to apologize to Li Hao, but also solemnly thanks Suyu. After agreeing to go to the bathroom, Suyu went straight to the teacher's office. This made Zhang Shijung, who was chasing him out, also look puzzled. What do you want from me? Cheng Yang looked cautiously at Suyu who came in. I saw the other party with a sunny smile on his face. Teacher, I want to apply for a job with you. He said coldly. Let's talk about it first. Teacher, do you think I still need to take the tactics class in high school? Suyu asked. He really wanted to say that he needed it, but he nodded indifferently and said, no need. Then can I apply to practice at home? Before Suyu finished speaking, Cheng Yang immediately retorted, you think beautifully. The obedient student finally couldn't pretend anymore. Suyu looked dissatisfied. Teacher, you let me stay at school now, isn't that a waste of my time? Maybe if I practice hard at home, I can still charge forward. Cheng Yang sneered, I believe you have a ghost. Are you going to practice at home? I think you are going to make a home in the wilderness. Suyu showed a shy smile. Almost. It's all for self-improvement. Impossible. Teacher, if you are worried, you can continue to let Cheng Huan follow me. Anyway, she is wasting time at school. Why do you ask Song Qingwan to be your bodyguard? The voices of the teacher and the student became louder and louder. Suyu said confidently, she is willing. Cheng Yang suddenly fell silent. MD, the current students dare to throw dog food in front of the teacher. Just when he was about to dictatorially deny Suyu's idea. Niuji, the fighting teacher, suddenly stared at Suyu and said, don't you think of me as a fighting teacher now, kid? Hearing this, Cheng Yang immediately agreed, that's right. Your fighting skills are in a mess, so you still want to apply for a suspension from school. Now you can show off to your classmates by absorbing the qi and blood raised by blood crystals, but what about meeting people with the same qi and blood in the future? Being subdued without two moves. Quote, just as he was talking, he suddenly noticed a mysterious smile on the corner of Suyu's mouth. The other party said honestly again, Teacher, if it's purely a skill competition, can I survive 3 tricks in Teacher Niu's hands? Teacher Niuji was about to speak. Cheng Yang immediately interrupted. Unless you can get Teacher Niuji to recognize your fighting skills, you can never think about it. He knew Suyu too well. When this guy said something like this, he must have a little idea in his heart. Teacher Niuji nodded, thinking that there is no problem, there is no difference between supporting the 3 tricks and getting his own approval. Suyu pursed her mouth with regret. How good are the 3 tricks, and you don't need to waste too much time. Seeing this, Cheng Yang secretly sneered in his heart. You kid, still want to lie to me? He shouted outside the office. Zhang Shijung, go and inform the whole class to gather on the playground. Some people want to run before they learn how to walk. Let you boys weigh your abilities today. Don't rely on your talent every day and just go around talking about it. Suyu was extremely wrong. The conscience of heaven and earth, I really just want to seize the time to improve my strength in the final stage. Outside the office, Zhang Shijung was stunned and immediately ran to the class. Go back to class. He directly called all the students to the playground. Squad leader, why did the teacher ask me to go to the playground? A boy with a sharp mouth and monkey cheeks followed him and asked. Maybe it's more fighting training. Zhang Shijung was a little absent-minded. The boy didn't take it seriously, and asked curiously, Squad leader, did you just go to teach that kid Suyu a lesson? That kid absorbed the blood crystals by himself, and he is defiant. You should teach him a lesson, monitor. Zhang Shijung stopped suddenly, his eyes suddenly cold. Who are you teaching me? How about I make an appointment for you? The boy shrank his neck and walked away resentfully. Seeing that the squad leader who was most displeased with Su Yu had no idea, he had no choice but to continue to arrange that Su Yu with others. However, before the topic started, Song Qingwan appeared in front of him again. Su Yu is not something you can mess with, and I don't recommend that you speak ill of him. As he spoke, a chill appeared in Song Qingwan's eyes. His eyes even glowed blue. A few people found that the tip of their noses was frosty, and quickly waved their hands. Student Song Qingwan, you misunderstood. We don't have this idea. Song Qingwan ignored it and turned to leave. She always felt that going to the playground had something to do with Su Yu again. Zhang Shijung watched from the side, feeling that she was so gentle even when she said harsh words. It's a pity that this tenderness has nothing to do with me. Thinking in his heart, he stopped Song Qingwan. Student Qingwan, I want to ask you something. If Su Yu asked you to accompany him to take a break from school to experience the wilderness, would you be willing? So it's because of this. Song Qingwan suddenly realized. She said with a matter of course, he went to the wilderness, of course I will follow. At this moment, Lu Long, who just passed by, seemed to hear the sound of something breaking. Our 7th class is the key class in Tianyan number 8 middle school. Every one of you is a top 50 top student in the 3rd year of Tianyan number 8 middle school. Although one of them is not in the top 100. Cheng Yang glanced at Su Yu. Su Yu grinned at him. You are all the pride of Tianyan number 8 high school, but I am very disappointed with your performance in the wilderness today. If you don't compare with other high schools, your record today is even far inferior to the previous seniors of Tianyuan number 8 middle school. A group of people bowed their heads under scolding. Only Su Yu and Song Qingwan, one with a harmless smile on their faces, listened carefully to the lecture. So, I hope you can recognize your own strength. With more than 1 month left in the next month, think carefully about what improvements can be made and what can be improved. Su Yu nodded straightly. Seeing this, Cheng Yang finally couldn't take it anymore. Su Yu, come out for me. Arrive. The corner of Cheng Yang's mouth twitched. Mr. Niuji, I'll leave the rest to you. The 5-year-old and 3-year-old teacher Niuji took a step forward. This scene made everyone in class 7 of the 3rd year look puzzled. Teacher Niuji smiled. Su Yu in your class thinks that he can't learn anything at school, so he offered to suspend school and study at home. Your homeroom teacher passed the tactical class, but the fighting class has to be approved by me. Next, I will have a pure skill competition with Su Yu. If anyone among you thinks that you can do it, and you don't want to take fighting classes, you can also take the initiative. The voice fell. There was an uproar at the scene. A group of people looked at Su Yu in disbelief. Su Yu is crazy. Aren't you crazy? A pure skill duel with Teacher Niuji. Teacher Niuji is a veteran. No matter what kind of soldier Mr. Niuji is, this is Su Yu. Has he passed the fighting class before? A group of people were chattering, only the few who had been warned by Song Qingwan didn't dare to make a sound. At this time, even Lu Long was a little puzzled as to what kind of muscle Su Yu had made a mistake, so he took the initiative to find Teacher Niuji to beat him up. He quickly stopped Su Yu and signaled him to forget it with his eyes. Teacher Niuji is famous in school for beating people without getting hurt, but he can make people hurt for a month. Su Yu smiled. You have to believe in your brother Su Yu's strength. After speaking, he took a step forward. A group of people immediately gave up the space. Teacher Niuji made a standard opening gesture, and Su Yu did the same. Why do I feel that Su Yu's posture is a little different from what the teacher taught me? What standard has Su Yu passed? That's the truth. Everyone was discussing, but Cheng Yang, the class teacher, suddenly said, it's not that he is not standard, his starting style is adjusted according to his own physical fitness. It's the best position for his body proportions. Cheng Yang squinted his eyes and found that he couldn't see through Su Yu more and more. The voice fell. Hiss. There are still people in the crowd who subconsciously want to reply that you know what a fart. Turning around, the head teacher immediately shut his mouth. On the other side, Niuji looked at Su Yu with sharp eyes. This kid seems to have something. Here we go. Before he finished speaking, he dodged forward and swept his legs. Suyu lifted his foot to dodge, and Ryuji immediately turned over and kicked from the left and right sidelines to catch it. This kind of combination of legwork and reality, some people who are not experienced in fighting may make a mistake in judgment and be taken down by one blow. And these are the 3 tricks that Ryuji prepared for Suyu before the start. All the onlookers held their breath at this moment. Seeing this situation, everyone knew that Ryuji was for real. Just when everyone thought that Suyu was going to lose with one move, I saw him facing Ryuji's unpredictable sideline kick, and easily dodged with a back. While dodging, he also kicked with a turn and swing. It took less than a second for the two to fight each other. Everyone in Class 7 of the 3rd year's jaws almost fell to the ground without knowing it. Is this still the Suyu we know? At the beginning of the duel on the playground, everyone can still see some tricks. At the back, Suyu and Ryuji bombarded with various elbows, whip punches, and right fists. As their fighting speed became faster and faster, a group of people became dazzled. Unknowingly, except for Song Qingwan, everyone in Class 7 of the 3rd year was stunned. Even Cheng Yang narrowed his eyes, with a look of doubt on life. In the end, with Suyu's big movement of the front knee and Ryuji's lower elbow, they collided together. Teacher Ryuji took the initiative to distance himself. You don't need to fight anymore, I can't break your move just relying on skills, he said without hesitation. Then he asked curiously, do you have any relatives who are veterans? Suyu nodded. My dad is. That's no wonder, you don't need to come to my fighting class in the future, I can't teach you anything anymore, Ryuji said. FK, did he succeed? Really or not? The teacher didn't turn on the water, did he? Maid, Suyu has been pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. Now it's a showdown. Is it possible that the body was not as good as ordinary people before, and there is no need to show this side? After seeing with their own eyes that Suyu was approved by teacher Ryuji, the students in Class 7 of the 3rd year closed their chins and exclaimed one by one. Teacher Ryuji heard them making noise, and looked over with a smirk. Do you have anyone else who wants to try? After the words fell, the audience fell silent. At this time Suyu looked at Cheng Yang. Cheng Yang looked helpless. Okay, but Song Qingwan. Before he finished speaking, Song Qingwan replied with a flash of light in his eyes, Teacher, I am willing. Cheng Yang stopped abruptly, and the whole class started booing. Song Qingwan's pretty face turned red to her ears again. Okay, it's all over. Before class tomorrow, hand in your self-criticism to me. As he said that, Cheng Yang walked to the office and made a phone call. Zhu Yun, don't blame me for not reminding you. This is the 2nd time I remind you. We were cheated by that kid Suyu. It's really possible for that kid to go to the combat department. Oh, really? A creepy sneer came from the other end of the phone. In the principal's office of Tianyuan No. 8 Middle School. The principal, 2 vice principals, and the director of the 3rd grade are drawing up the list for the final training camp. Principal, do we really want to put Suyu in this list? The bald vice principal still hesitated. Although Cheng Yang just reported that he has absorbed blood crystals and has recently improved in martial arts, his talent in tactics is also extraordinary. But in the final analysis, this training camp is still cultivating combat department talents. Isn't it a waste of these resources to let Suyu participate? How was it wasted? Talent training camp. Talent training camp, isn't Suyu a genius? Another vice principal argued. In my opinion, besides Song Qingwan, Suyu is the most suitable for our school. The grade director reminded. Actually, we can let Suyu go, but if we let him go, will other schools have any objections? Speaking of which, the 3 of them still looked at the principal. The headmaster, whose bicycle tire had been removed by Suyu, twirled his little beard and thought for a while. Well, didn't Cheng Yang say that Suyu's promotion is not small, if he can enter the top 100 in the national entrance examination in a week's time? I personally sent him to the training camp. When I saw which school's principal had an opinion. In the principal's office, several people reached a consensus. At this moment, there was a knock on the office door. Come in. Seeing that it was Cheng Yang, the principal immediately smiled and said, Mr. Cheng, you came at the right time. We are discussing whether Suyu from your class should participate in the talent training camp for the last half month. I'm going to wait for him to enter the city's top 100 in the college entrance examination, and then report his name. You first give us an overview. Suyu can make it to the top 100. Facing the expectant eyes of several principals and grade directors, Cheng Yang nodded and shook his head. The grade director was puzzled and said, Mr. Cheng, you are shaking your head and nodding. What do you mean? Cheng Yang wanted to be offended by someone's bold behavior, and said helplessly, Director, all the principals, I nodded to say that Suyu has the ability to enter the top 100, let alone the top 100. It's no problem for him to be in the top 50 now. That's a good relationship. In the office, everyone looked happy. However, Cheng Yang immediately said, I shake my head because we don't need to fill in Suyu's name. Teacher Cheng Yang, what do you mean by that? The four cast puzzled looks. Facing the inquiries of the four, Cheng Yang said quietly, Professor Zhu from Jubei University has already helped Suyu and Song Qingwan apply for the joint training camp of the four colleges. What? Is it our Wagwo's four major colleges? Let Suyu go. Are you sure that Professor Zhu Yun is not joking? The voices of the four are louder than the other. Cheng Yang spread his hands. I personally suggest that we can notify the two of them in advance now. If you apply, you can go. The bald vice principal asked subconsciously. The fact that Professor Zhu Yun wants to recruit Suyu has long been known in the four major universities. A future tactical master, which genius doesn't want to make friends in advance? The students definitely have no objections, and the person in charge of the training camp will definitely sell Professor Zhu Yun a favor. This matter is basically settled, Cheng Yang explained. These words also made the four people who were still wondering whether to let Suyu participate in the training camp of Tianyuan City blush a little. Tianyuan City hadn't produced any tactical geniuses, and they realized that they really didn't have any idea about such geniuses. Now that I hear this, I realize that Suyu is so valued in the eyes of the four major colleges. So who is Song Qingwan? The principal asked suspiciously. Cheng Yang organized his language. Well, you can understand it as a full-time bodyguard, or you can understand it as a companion for Suyu, so that he will not lose his confidence when he is hit. There is another crane tail as a companion, which is somewhat psychologically comforting. The four of them hesitated to speak. In their eyes, the treasure of Tianyuan No. 8 High School, the top 3 geniuses in Tianyuan City, who possesses A-level ability to freeze Song Qingwan, was actually arranged to be the tail of the crane for Suyu's company. The four of them were a little hard to explain for a while, but they were very clear about Song Qingwan. No matter what the reason was, it was a rare opportunity for her to participate in this four-school joint training camp. There was an eerie silence in the office. The four of them also further realized their short-sightedness. After thinking about it, the principal said, since they have decided to go, our school should try to provide them with some help before going. Early the next morning, Suyu appeared in school again. When other people in the school saw him, they all looked envious. He absorbed blood crystals, and his chi and blood were greatly improved. The fact that he was on par with teacher Niuji in the fighting class has spread throughout the school. Now Suyu is already a genius second only to Song Qingwan in the eyes of all the teachers and students in the school. Those teachers would smile and nod when they saw him. The change in the attitude of the surrounding teachers and students towards Suyu did not cause any fluctuations in his mood. At this moment, his even more headache is why the class teacher backtracked and refused to let him suspend school. Qinghuan, do you know what it is? Suyu asked. Song Qingwan shook his head. I thought it was because you had new ideas that the teacher called us to school. This morning, both of them had already reached the big iron gate, and they were called back to school by the head teacher. The two were waiting in the principal's office. After a while, Cheng Yang and the principal walked in. The principal patted Suyu on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Good job, I knew you had a future when you unloaded my tire." Suyu stood up straight without looking sideways. Cheng Yang looked at the kid amusedly for a while. "Okay, I won't play around with you two. Professor Zhu Yun from Beibei University helped the two of you apply for the opportunity to participate in the joint training camp of the four universities." "Four schools joint training camp," Suyu and Song Qingwan said in unison. Confusion was written in both of their eyes. 4 schools joint training camp. People all over the country know this top talent training camp in China. Participating in the training camp known as the Small College Entrance Examination is the goal of all geniuses. It can be said that those who can participate in this training camp are all geniuses who can be admitted to the 4 major colleges in advance. So far, Tianyuan City has never had a genius who is qualified to participate in this training camp. The genius with dual abilities in Tianyan No. 1 middle school was only said by everyone to be expected to participate next year. Although Su Yu's goal is to be the number 1 in the college entrance examination, he is also very clear that he is not qualified to participate in this training camp at all. After all, there are all monsters who don't need the college entrance examination. Although he can also not take the college entrance examination. But my buddy is a special student in the tactical department. Seeing Su Yu's puzzled expression, Cheng Yang sneered in his heart. If you want to be stunned now, and don't let you grow your memory, knowing how high you are today, can you go to the tactical department with peace of mind? Yes, the 4 school joint training camp. You don't have to ask why, you just need to know that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you. So in the next week, the school's gravity training room and chi and blood training room will be completely open to the 2 of you. The principal and I want both of you to take your abilities to the next level before heading to training camp. As he said that, Cheng Yang looked at Song Qingwan again. Qingwan, although you have A-level abilities, you are one of the best geniuses in the city. But you have to be clear that even geniuses with S-level abilities are not necessarily eligible to participate in this training camp. That's why the principal and I hope that you can raise your vitality to the peak before a warrior in the next week, and the school will help you apply for a blood crystal at that time. Let you absorb blood crystals and get the promotion that maximizes your benefits. Hearing this, Song Qingwan nodded seriously. Teacher, I will work hard. Su Yu interrupted with a puzzled look on the side. Teacher, what did you say? Qinghuan's ability is an A-level ability. Well, Qinghuan has the A-level ability of freezing, which is an ability with great potential in combat. The principal took the initiative to answer for Su Yu. At this moment, Su Yu stopped talking. I said why the SSS level ability has not received as much attention as an ordinary double ability. He looked at Song Qingwan. Qingwan, you are far stronger than everyone imagined. Su Yu's sudden feeding of the chicken soup made all 3 present look confused. Although Song Qingwan had doubts, she also replied seriously, yes, Su Yu, I will. Cheng Yang took another look at this kid, always feeling that he was holding back something bad. Before he could warn the kid not to fool around, I saw Su Yu actively raising his hands. Teacher, principal, what about me? What about me? Why don't you also give me 10 or 8 blood crystals? This time, the headmaster with a friendly smile also had several black lines on his forehead. This kid, do you think blood crystals are picked up all over the street? Cheng Yang glanced at him and said mercilessly, you don't have blood crystals. You should make good use of the gravity training room and the chi and blood training room first, and squeeze out the remaining potential after you absorb the blood crystals. Su Yu suddenly looked like a frosted eggplant. He really wanted to say that he had squeezed that 15 points of blood pressure so much that he couldn't squeeze any more. After thinking for a while, he raised his spirits again. Teacher, I want to try these 2 training rooms first. If these 2 training rooms don't improve me much, I still want to apply to go to the wilderness to exercise. Cheng Yang glared and was about to refuse. Su Yu took the lead and said, for me, it would be more helpful to know more about the habits of strange beasts. Teacher, if you don't believe me, you can ask Qinghuan. I am not aimless in the wilderness. I have been collecting as many samples of strange beasts as possible. Cheng Yang looked at Song Qingwan. Teacher, it's like this. Su Yu has been observing the habits of different beasts these days. Cheng Yang didn't say any more. Okay then, you go to the 2 practice rooms and have a try first. Things are decided. Song Qingwan and Su Yu, led by the principal, entered the oldest building in Tianyuan No. 8 Middle School, the Bell Tower. Pass through the auditorium, go deep and come to 2 rooms. The principal introduced the 2 of them. The gravity training room can reach up to 4 times the gravity. Student Qinghuan, you have been here before, and you know that you can quickly improve your fighting skills in it. The chi and blood training room here is very simple. Practicing in it can make your chi and blood feel active, and can effectively increase your speed of cultivating chi and blood. After listening to the principal's introduction, Suyu realized how many opportunities he had missed to start a small business after being at the tail end of the year. Soon, Suyu experienced both training rooms. In the gravity training room, when Suyu first entered, if he hadn't taken precautions, he might have kneeled on the ground. He threw a set of punches inside. The principal and Cheng Yang watched with admiration. In all fairness, with Suyu's fighting skills, even if he doesn't have tactical talent, he can still be considered a half-genius in Tianyan No. 8 high school. Suyu felt it for the first time, and it was indeed a great improvement, but without collecting illustrations, it was more cost-effective to obtain chi and blood. As for the other chi and blood training room, he doesn't want to comment. What chi and blood is active? Dude, I don't feel anything at all. After the experience, Cheng Yang asked very confidently, how is it? It will take a lot of resources to open these 2 training rooms, you should cherish it. This is more useful than going to the wilderness. When can't you go to the wilderness? Suyu replied without thinking, teacher, I still want to go to the wilderness to hone my skills. Of course, it would be even better if I could come to the gravity room to exercise for 2 hours every afternoon. Cheng Yang was speechless. The principal still had a kind smile on his face, as if he supported all of Suyu's decisions. But Song Qingwan panicked. Teacher, Suyu is going to the wilderness, and I want to accompany him. The principal smiled. Student Cheng Huan, I know you are worried about Suyu's safety. But in this troubled world, who can guarantee absolute safety? No one can be a flower in a greenhouse all the time. Perhaps Tianyuan City will have to face a beast horde tomorrow. If you are not with Suyu by then, wouldn't he just have to wait to die? Song Qingwan understood all the reasons, but she was still worried. Suyu also comforted. Cheng Huan, you'd better practice hard first, it's more important to protect me in the training camp then. You have to know that the joint training camp of the 4 schools is full of geniuses from all over the country. If I don't have you, I won't be bullied by others. Song Qingwan finally nodded, but still worried. Then you can only be active in Area D. Suyu immediately patted his chest and promised, don't worry, I will come to pick you up tomorrow night. On the side, teacher Cheng Yang and the principal suddenly let out a long sigh. I didn't expect that. At this age, you have to be slapped with dog food by students. Things are fine. Song Qingwan also showed determination on her face. She must improve herself before going to the training camp. Without any further hesitation, she decisively entered the chi and blood training room and began to practice. Suyu is ready to go to the wilderness ahead. Teacher Cheng Yang stopped him and said seriously, I don't care if you major in combat or tactics. I want you to know that only being alive is the foundation of everything. You guys are graduating soon, and you will go to the battlefield in the future. You can't escape like before. At least before making a decision, think about your loved ones, think about those who worry about you. Suyu put away that silly expression. Teacher, don't worry, I won't kill myself. I'm still going to take Cheng Huan to the training camp and come back with a first place. Cheng Yang was speechless. Is it the last one? Okay, get out of here. Suyu galloped out of school on his bicycle. The principal appeared next to Cheng Yang, and said with a smile, it seems that both you and the Professor Zhuge Yun are very optimistic about this kid. Cheng Yang looked at the principal. Principal, aren't you too? The two looked at each other and smiled without saying a word. Wilderness. Suyu acted alone for the first time, and this time he applied all the knowledge he had learned in the book. Any small step in the wilderness is not easy to take. As teacher Cheng Yang said, only being alive is the greatest confidence. So you can't be too cautious here. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, after Suyu submitted the record of killing more than 10 alien beasts, he left the big iron gate and went straight to the school. Come to the bell tower, put on a training suit and enter the gravity training room. In the gravity room, Song Qingwan was visibly relieved when he saw Suyu come in. Cheng Huan, come, let's practice in pairs. Suyu sent out a battle invitation. After a while, Song Qingwan controlled Suyu's hands and feet and pinned her down tightly. There is no way, the skill gap is infinitely narrowed in the gravity training room. Suyu, whose physical fitness is already weaker than Song Qingwan, can only play the role of being beaten. After 2 hours of exciting fighting, when the two walked out of the gravity training room, they both instantly felt relaxed. Let's go, Qinghuan, I'll take you home today. Boys and girls rode bicycles, talking and laughing, and went home. On the top of the tallest building in the school, the principal smiled and shook his head. It's nice to be young. Still a few hundred meters away from the community, Suyu took the initiative to stop. Just as she was about to say goodbye, Suyu suddenly thought of it. Qinghuan, have you ever thought that your ability might be more than just freezing? Song Qingwan was at a loss. Suyu finished his point and waved goodbye. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.